Wisconsin is ready to break through. The Badgers consistently have one of the best defenses in the entire country, but the offense continues to hold them back. Can this be the year that it finally all comes together? That is what we're going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert Guys, as we are ready to predict and analyze and break down Wisconsin's schedule and record for this upcoming college football season. And when you look at Wisconsin from last year, guys, this is a Badgers team that went 9-4 and for the first time what felt like forever fell short of winning the Big Ten West. You take a look at the numbers, guys. Wisconsin returned 62% of their production from last year. That's just 77th in the country. And it's really a tale of two sides here. The offense last year ranked 88th nationally, while the defense was the #1 defense in the country. So again, that's what we talked about a second ago. The Badgers defensively are always so good. It's the offense that is holding them back from greatness. And really, it starts right now with Graham Mertz. The star quarterback that was supposed to be living up to the hype has not. The Badgers had the 120th ranked passing offense in the country, and Mertz had more interceptions with 11 than touchdowns with 10. He has to get better. He has to improve. We know Wisconsin wants to run the ball. They can do that effectively. Braylon Allen rushed for over 1,200 yards last year. He returns and will lead the team again. But to take the team to the next step, they have to find a passing attack to complement the rush. Right now, they don't have that. The defense, though, guys, solid again. #1 defense in the country last year. Yes, they lose 8 starters from last year's unit. That's a lot. But Wisconsin defensively, guys, they don't have to rebuild. They continuously reload. The front seven, once again, is loaded. And the secondary, guys, I would say is the biggest area of concern. But Paul Chryst went out there and loaded up the secondary with a bunch of transfers. And they should be just fine. So this defense, guys, might not be the #1 unit in the country again, but they should be a top 10 unit and will be the difference maker in whether or not Wisconsin wins the West or falls just short. And take a look at the schedule, guys. It's really, for the most part, pretty favorable for Wisconsin. A lot of key home games. Not the worst cross-division games in the world, although they do draw Ohio State and Michigan State out of the East. But still, you take a look at it. We think they open up with a win over Illinois State. Shouldn't be an issue there. And they take on Washington State, a team that's going to test this Wisconsin secondary pretty early. You know, we talked about the secondary, loaded with transfers. How quickly will they gel? This is a Washington State team with Cameron Ward now in at quarterback, and Washington State kind of returning more to the air raid offense that's going to come into Madison and try to air it out almost every single play. Can the Badgers shut it down? I think they will. I think they will. The Cougars aren't going to have much of a rushing attack. It's kind of interesting. Wisconsin, no passing attack. The Cougars, no rushing attack. So Washington State knows they got to stop the run. Wisconsin knows they need to stop the pass. Which one's going to give here? I think the Badgers defense is the one that shows up. I think despite losing so many people, they're still more experienced. They have home field advantage on their side. And I just don't think Washington State is quite there yet with all the new pieces, new coach, new quarterback, new coordinators, to come on the road and get a win over what should be a top 15 team. So Wisconsin wins that, beats New Mexico State. They're 3-0, and then they take on Ohio State. Ohio State in Columbus. Yikes. The cool storyline here, though, guys, is that this is going to be the #1 offense from last year in Ohio State, facing off against the #1 defense from last year in Wisconsin. So I do love that storyline, and that should make for a semi-decent game for about a half. And then Ohio State will ultimately pull away. Because the Buckeyes, guys, should have the best offense in the country again in 2022. This team is loaded. And the defense should be getting better with every week under Jim Knowles. I just don't think Wisconsin has the offensive capability to hang with Ohio State. They've got to somehow put points on the board. And Ohio State does a good job of taking care of the football, and I don't think Wisconsin's going to have enough offensively to move the ball down the field. So while I don't think it's a horrible blowout, Wisconsin will lose this game to the Buckeyes. They drop to 3-1. We do think they bounce back and win their next 2, though. They should beat Illinois. They should beat Northwestern. They beat Illinois 24-0 last year. Now it's at home. They beat them in Champaign last year 24-0. Now it's at home. Fighting Illini, I have so many questions on both sides of the ball that even though they went 5-7, they might be a little bit worse this year. And you look at Northwestern, sometimes the Wildcats tend to give the Badgers a bit of trouble, especially in Evanston. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. You never want to count out a Pat Fitzgerald Northwestern team. I get that. But the Wildcats had one of the worst offenses in the country last year. They had one of the worst defenses in the country last year. And when you look at who returns, yeah, they'd return a decent amount of starters. I don't have faith they're just going to magically turn things around and become division title contenders or be able to beat Wisconsin even though it is at home. I just don't think it's going to happen. Wisconsin won 35-7 last year. There's not going to be a 28-point swing. The Badgers get the win, 5-1. They then get another team out of the East in Michigan State. This will be a fun game. This will be a lot of fun. I think these two teams are pretty even. Wisconsin 100% owns the defensive advantage. Michigan State 100% owns the offensive advantage. And then, of course, the Spartans do own home field advantage. And for me, that is going to be a major reason why we pick the Spartans here. We're going to give Wisconsin their second loss following to the Spartans in East Lansing. Here's the thing. If Wisconsin had a capable quarterback, they might be able to pull off this win. A win that, again, that could be a potential top 15 showdown here between the Spartans and the Badgers. Because Michigan State last year had the worst secondary in the country, right? I don't think Graham Mertz can exploit that. I genuinely don't. The Spartans were pretty good at shutting down the run last year. And so if that's the case, if they slow that down for Wisconsin, they've got to find a way to win the game through the air. And I don't think the Badgers can do that. And that's a major reason, on top of everything else we just mentioned, why we're going to go with Michigan State here. So Wisconsin drops to 5-2, and then they get Purdue. This is a game that could easily determine who wins the Big Ten West, because that's how good Purdue is this season. The Boilermakers are legit. And we talked about Washington State and Ohio State, guys like that, testing this Wisconsin secondary. Purdue will do the exact same thing with Aiden O'Connell. But here's the kicker. Wisconsin has won 15 straight games against Purdue. 15 straight games. Unbelievable. Last year, a lot of people, including myself, thought that streak would end. Purdue was getting hot. It was in West Lafayette. Wisconsin was mediocre, and Purdue laid an egg, losing 30-13 to the Badgers. There's no way that Wisconsin drops this game now at home. They're not going to lose to the Boilermakers in Madison. It's just not going to happen. If Purdue couldn't win it last year, I don't think they're going to be able to win it this year. They struggled against this Wisconsin defense. They're going to struggle against it again, and Wisconsin's defense might be able to flip the field just enough to help their struggling offense put them in a favorable field position where they actually can put up the points. Might not be 30 points, but it's going to be enough to beat Purdue for the 16th time in a row. So they do that, get their bye week, and then they enter the month of November, which has a couple tough games in there too. Not easy at all. I will say I think they come out of the bye week and beat Maryland. Another Maryland team that's going to test this Wisconsin secondary, right? Maryland team with Talia Tagovailoa and maybe one of the best, if not the best, core of wide receivers in the Big Ten that will test every team they go up against. But Wisconsin's off a week of rest. They've got the game at home. And again, the secondary will have been tested time and time again. They'll be tested against Washington State and Ohio State and Michigan State and Purdue that when they face Maryland, they're going to be so battle-tested, I think they're going to be able to handle it. So they do take down the Terrapins, and then they take on Iowa. Another game, similar to Purdue, that could determine who wins the West. How those three teams fare against each other, I think, determines who wins the division. And you look at Iowa, guys. They beat the Hawkeyes 27-7 last year. Wisconsin has actually won 5 of the last 6 against the Hawkeyes, but these two teams are so similar this year. Two teams that have struggling offenses, the lackluster quarterback play, but phenomenal defenses. And so when I look at two teams, guys, that are so similar, I say, well, you know, where's home field advantage? It's at Kinnick Stadium. And we know how dangerous Kinnick Stadium is. One of the most difficult places to play in the country. These two teams on paper to me, guys, are so even. If anything, I'd actually give Iowa the slight offensive edge. I'm going to let the Hawkeyes win this game. Win this game. And that possibly could end Wisconsin's Big Ten title host. Again, depending on how Purdue's faring, depending on how Iowa's faring. It's a wide open division. Everything's kind of up for grabs right now. They do fall to Iowa, though, but go on the road to beat Nebraska. This is a trap game, too. Wisconsin hung over after Iowa, upset after Iowa. They faced a Nebraska team they only beat by 7 last year, and a Nebraska team that's significantly getting better. But I don't think Nebraska's offense, despite how much I think it will improve, are ready to take on this Wisconsin defense. I don't think they can do it. That's how good this Wisconsin defense will once again be. I don't think that they can handle it. So I think Wisconsin can go on the road to Lincoln, get the win over Nebraska in a close, hard-fought game, and then they face Minnesota in the season finale. Getting this game at home, once again, is huge. Again, if this was at Minnesota, I might actually lean the Golden Gophers away. The Golden Gophers have won 2 of the last 4 against Wisconsin. So they've split the last 4 meetings. It's a battle between the number 1 defense from last year in Wisconsin and the number 3 defense from last year in Minnesota. So defensively, just about even. Offensively, edge might go to Minnesota. Home field advantage goes to Wisconsin. And again, I look at it from last year, guys. I just think that Wisconsin's going to be able to get this win. I genuinely believe that Wisconsin will wake up with home field advantage on senior night, maybe still in the hunt for the Big Ten title. I just don't see them slipping up to the Golden Gophers with everything that could possibly still be on the line here. So they're able to win that game and finish the year at 9-3, which actually, guys, is slight improvement. Last year the Badgers went 8-4, won their bowl game to be 9-4. So 9-3 in the regular season is slight improvement from last year. Whether or not it's good enough to get to the Big Ten title, that remains to be seen. You'll have that answer here in a few days. But regardless, guys, the Badgers and Paul Chryst will have a shot at another 10-win season, double-digit win season. The offense still not quite there yet. They're not quite ready to fully break through and win the Big Ten or make the playoff. But Wisconsin, once again, will still be a threat both on the Big Ten and on the national stage. So once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to go take a look at those and sign up for them today. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.